This guy right here. I bet you it dies this year. Huge thanks to Own.tv for sponsoring this video. More on their overlays and graphics later. I don't know how many of you have signed an NDA before. They make me very sad. They're important, I get it, but I would get tweets of people saying, I finally got my GoXLR, and this is sitting in my room. I mean, to be fair, I haven't tried this yet, I haven't opened it. It might not be good. It might not replace the GoXLR. From what I've seen, it might. And when I say might, the reason I say that is this looks like the absolute next generation GoXLR in every reason except I'm concerned about the software. I want to try it first before I go on knocking it. So let's open this. We've got the AVerMedia AX310, or called the Live Streamer Nexus. They also released a dynamic microphone, which is really cool that they did that. We'll try this out. We'll see how it compares. But this is what the video is really going to be about. This is an XLR interface. It's got a bunch of inputs and outputs just like the GoXLR. It also has, if you haven't seen it yet, maybe zoom in on this real quick, has a touch screen on it. Like literally it's supposed to be a GoXLR and a StreamDeck built into one. If this is good, oh, I'm gonna be so happy. Let me grab a knife, 1 second. We're already starting to baby-proof everything. This isn't even a knife. It's like a plastic box opener. That works really well. All right, let's take a look here. It is, I think, a little bit smaller than a GoXLR. But check this out, they showed me this. Oh, you want it flat? You got it flat. You want it a little bit more vertical? Magnets. Now it stands right up. Ooh, let's take a look at this I/O. What do we got in here? It looks like all the exact same I/O as the other one. We got power with XLR. We have headphones, line in, line out, console, and USB. Ooh, and a switch built into it. GoXLR had to buy a separate switch. That's kind of nice. Do you remember what I said in that video that we referenced in the beginning about how the device had to be so big because you had faders that took up half the, like, don't get me wrong, I love faders, but the fact that you're able to make a device smaller and also have 6 controls because now they're little turn knobs, it is more forward thinking. I'll miss the faders, but this makes more sense. Plus, you can click them. I assume that'll work as like either a mute button or something programmable. You have a touch screen right here, which what it looks like from the deck that they sent me is again like a touch screen StreamDeck, although it looks like they haven't opened up the API for developers just yet. That's on the roadmap though. And then you have 4 programmable soft buttons. Oh, I love the finish on this thing. Oh, that's a good peel. Let's real quick, let's unbox this microphone also. Oh, that's a chunky boy. The picture made it look very small. Ooh, this is thick. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this. This is a sexy microphone. I like the red on the front, that is sleek. Ooh, if you don't like the red, you can swap it out with like a black chrome. Last thing I wanna do before we jump into this and install the software is I wanna hold it up next to a full-size GoXLR. Let's see the size difference. 1 second. There you go. What do you think about that? This will save you some serious space on your desk. Not just because of how much smaller it is, but this could, again, if the software is any good, and I will be testing the software, this could replace the GoXLR and the StreamDeck. Could you imagine? Enough ogling at how it looks. So far, 10 out of 10. Let's get to the important stuff. I'm gonna test this out for a couple days. We'll return. I'm very confused about this device right now because I love every idea they put in here. It feels like they didn't finish it. Like this is still not usable for most streamers. Let's talk about everything. Before we jump into this, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video. You know them, Owned.tv. They are, say it with me, your one-stop shop for all your stream aesthetic needs, whether it be overlays, panels, alerts, animations, whatever you need, they've got it. So if you and all your friends grab the Insight series that you're looking at right now, none of you are gonna have the exact same overlay because you can pick and choose the different pieces that you'd like. If you'd like to make the smart move like many from the community have already done, feel free to use the link in the description below, and that link will support the channel. So Thank you. Also, make sure you use code alpha at checkout. It will give you 50% off your purchase. All right, let's dive into this. Let's talk about the things I like about this device, the things I don't like, and the 1 or 2 things that should have made them reconsider releasing this today, because I am concerned. Let's start with the good. The concept of this device is flawless. Like, it takes the GoXLR and it upgrades it in literally every single way. Instead of being able to control the volume of 4 different channels on the GoXLR, we now have 6, which, by the way, is exactly how many I use on my dual GoXLR setup. You trade out the faders, which I know we all love, but you trade them out for knobs, which take up considerably less space on the front. That leaves room for a touchscreen StreamDeck on the front, which is super flexible. You can even have your chat window on here if you really want. Get rid of the dedicated voice changer and sampler on the GoXLR, which we all know they're fun, but after 2 weeks, you literally never use them anymore. Plus, you can do all that stuff with software anyway, which you can do with the touchscreen or the 4 soft buttons over here. They added the main thing that I've been wanting the GoXLR to add for years now, submixes, which means your stream can hear different volumes than what you hear. I literally asked the GoXLR team to do that 2 years ago. They said they were working on it. They never did it. So what we're left with is more audio control on the bottom and more flexible stream control on the top, all on a smaller device. But don't buy it yet, because it's time we get into the bad, which is the software. And software is often a complaint about mine with AVerMedia, but this is a whole different level. It feels like it was either rushed or it was made by an intern, because things like the faders don't even line up with your cursor when you're dragging them. Try fine-tuning your audio when every time you click a fader, it automatically jumps 6 decibels to the right. It's super unresponsive. The metering moves at like 2 frames a second, so you never actually get to see where it peaks, which makes it completely useless. The routing table on the GoXLR, which is a super powerful input-output tool, is reduced down to a single drop-down menu. They even ruined some of the good ideas I was excited about that I mentioned before, like submixes. Instead of doing something really intuitive, like say Elgato, where you have your headphone mix and your broadcast mix right next to each other, and when you get it where you want it, you can lock them together so you can adjust them both with a single movement. They place the entire mixes one on top of the other. So for example, with your microphone, your headphone mix is all the way up here, your audience mix is all the way down here, and you can't link them together. So if you want to do a dual mix and you want to turn down your music, you have to turn it down one at a time on each of them and then turn them both back up, and you better remember where you set both of them before. They even made some really weird aesthetic choices. Like, look at the border surrounding the knobs. Do you see how the bottom corners have a smaller turn radius than the top corners? And then the corner right above that is even smaller than both of those. And these are even just the most notable ones. Like, there are some other software problems. Like, for example, it doesn't scale on higher resolution screens. I'm like squinting to work on this software. But here's the important thing. Software can be fixed. None of these things are deal breakers, because in a couple months from now, maybe AVerMedia fixes all these problems, sends you an update, and it's all fixed. And by the way, AVerMedia, I've consulted on a number of software projects before. I have a software development company, Senpai Tech. If you'd have me, we'd love to make this amazing software. The real problem with this device is internal audio components. Most mics that streamers use won't work on this. Let me try to break this down really simply, and you're all going to be audio pros after the next 2 minutes. When you talk into a microphone, the signal that comes out of the back is so quiet, it's almost inaudible. It's what's called mic level signal, which is why every single audio interface has something called a preamp or a preamplifier. It boosts the mic level audio to line level audio, which is what we hear. And different microphones need different amounts of boost or gain. Every microphone has a different output. For example, the SM7B is known for being an extremely quiet microphone. It requires 60 decibels of gain, which is why the Focusrite Scarlett doesn't work very well for that microphone, because it can only add 55 decibels of gain. And I believe the previous generations can only do 50. Don't quote me on that though. That's why the GoXLR has so much power, because it can actually do 72 decibels of gain. We've done videos on this channel where we plugged an SM7B directly into both the GoXLR and the GoXLR Mini, and they both powered it with headroom to spare. The Live Streamer Nexus only has 42 decibels of gain. And of those 42, only 32 of them are actual hardware gain from the preamp. The other 2 are just digital gain done at the converter. That means almost any dynamic mic, which is what most streamers use, won't be able to be powered by that thing. The SM7B requires 60 dB. The RE20 requires 56 dB. I plugged in the Rode Pod mic and turned it all the way up and couldn't get the meter to get halfway up the scale. It's so quiet that when we turned it up, there was just so much hiss and noise, it was unusable. On top of that, there's actually one more problem. That gain fader you see, you notice it only gives you 10 dB of gain from top to bottom. That's because that's controlling the converter gain, the digital gain at the end. You can't even turn down the actual preamp if you want. This means your microphone needs to fall between 32 dB of gain or 42 dB of gain. Otherwise, it's useless. We plugged in a Blue Spark, which is a notoriously loud microphone, and even with that gain turned all the way down, it was still too loud and was clipping the entire time. I've never seen an interface work this way before. If you go into the GoXLR, you notice you can turn it all the way up to 72 dB of gain or all the way down to 0. And this means that a lot of people buying this device are gonna plug in their microphone and it's just not gonna work. I think this has potential to be my favorite streaming device on the market. It just needs to fix two things. First, overhaul of the entire software. It's not easy, but it's doable. Second, the audio components inside this thing need to be replaced. Otherwise, it's useless. That was just a huge corner cut on this device and it's super disappointing. Oh, and if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the microphone, looks really cool. It's also not great. There's almost zero pop filter built into the front of this. I can actually see the capsule through the grill here. And also there's zero shock mount built into it either. I was hearing my breath and tapping on the desk louder than I was hearing my own voice, which for a dynamic mic where you need to be this close to it, it's not usable. Anyway, guys, sorry to get your hopes up with this one. I would love to see AVerMedia fix this up and make this an amazing product because it does have so much potential. If you have any additional questions that you think I missed, I stream on YouTube now. I left Twitch about a month ago. Feel free to subscribe to that channel and jump into my live streams. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, link down below. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And as always, happy streaming.